So when you're able to feel the sensation of anger, it's just anger.
That's right. That's right. Allow me to take this moment to tell our listeners that you're listening to CIDI 99.1 FM, your community radio station here in the townships. Brought to you today is the show The Alternatives. You Have Choices, brought to you by the Sunshine Center in Sutton. It's a place where we offer wonderful ways of dealing with your stress. And today we're talking about meditation with Danielle Laberge. And I'm your host, Elia Kavoukas. We're just talking about what is meditation and how it helps us to be more aware of what is going on in our minds, in our body, and how we can deal with different states of emotions. Danielle offers a class of how to meditate in a group setting on Thursday mornings at 7:30 to 8 at the center, nice and early.
To 8:30.
What did I say?
To 8.
Oh, 7:30 to 8:30. We need that extra half hour.
We do.
And I participate in your class. I love it. You give a lot of guidance, and your voice is just perfect. When I'm off about to snooze, you just bring me back. And it's a very calming voice, and you always have the right thing to say, and it's a wonderful class.
Thank you.
Maybe you can tell our listeners what exactly happens during a class, so they'll have a better idea what to expect.
Well, first of all, I ask people to sit. So the thing is, you don't have to sit on a floor. You can also sit on a chair. The thing is to keep the spine erect. The posture is quite important. The more the spine is in line between sky and earth, the more clear the mind becomes. So the first 10 minutes is about assessing how the group feels, and then from then on, for the next 15-20 minutes, it's about bringing the mind into a more focused state. So it's about concentrating on different objects. One object could be the breath. It could be sensations in the body. It could also be a visualization. What this does, by bringing the mind onto a certain object, it helps the mind clear off what is not necessary. Once the mind is a little more calm, then the next 10 or 15 minutes, I usually invite people to open up to what's going on inside. So usually once the mind is more focused, it is able to perceive much more, or many more things than when the mind is occupied with all these things outside. So first the mind is brought into a little more focus, and then it is opened up again into a more vast exploration of the things that show up. So I could, sometimes I'll just say a sentence and see what resonates with this sentence. And it's all about observing how the body reacts. When there's an emotion, it is a body sensation. So if there's an emotion, to observe the emotion. There's also thoughts that may come up. Memories come up. So these are also all things that are observable. But the mind is able to observe only once, or is able to better observe once it has been put into focus. So this is theoretically what happens. Now what happens in practice, that's another thing.
That's right. Yeah. I did want to mention and talk a little bit about what you mentioned earlier about the posture and sitting, because I feel a lot of people have the idea that it's a practice and torture. You know, you have to sit there and not move for an hour. You know, and you mentioned sitting in a chair. So basically, it's about sitting upright.
Yes.
You don't want to be leaning against anything, because you mentioned in the class this morning that you want to have be awake slightly, so that you're not you don't have a
snoozing
chance of falling asleep.
Yes.
Because as soon as you can lean on something, well, the body relaxes. So
Yes.
it's having a awakened state,
Yeah.
but while you're meditating. So maybe you want to elaborate on that a little bit.
Yeah, there is a difference between meditation and relaxation.
Thank you. Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I remember.
So the relaxation part is, just bringing the body and the mind into a state where, there's no discomfort in the body. The body is very comfortable. So I was mentioning at the end of the show last week, the savasana, so the posture at the end of a yoga class, which is a relaxation posture. And meditation is the exercise of being aware. Being awake is very important. And when I said earlier that the posture is very important for the mind to be clear, when the mind is clear, when the body is better aligned, the mind can be clearer. I could say that like that. So yes, the posture is quite important. That's why it is not very recommended to meditate while lying down, because lying down kind of sends a
That's
message
right.
that, okay, snoozing is the next thing that's coming up. So,
Exactly. I'll take a pause here and tell the listeners listening to CIDI 99.1 FM, your host Ilya Kavukis. We're talking about meditation, and we were just talking about posture and how important it is for posture. I did want to talk about something that you mentioned when you're meditating. Different things come up. I know for me at the beginning was just that posture. My upper back, particularly my right shoulder, would right next to the shoulder blade was constantly hurting. It was constantly talking to me, and I couldn't. It was like I had to move. I just couldn't. So, what do you recommend for? I've learned to get over it and heal that. But what would you recommend to somebody who's just learning meditation? What do they do with their physical sensations in their body, such as pain?
Pain and bodily sensation is part of the meditation. So as I was saying earlier, observation and thoughts of the breath and of bodily sensations, these are all or can all be part of the meditation. Uncomfortable or discomfort is unfortunately part of meditation because you're sitting in a way that you're just not used to. So actually, what is recommended is just to sit every day or 5-6 times a week and just sit 10-15 minutes. This will just teach the body how to sit. Because this is the most important, and I think the biggest obstacle to meditation is the physical body. The physical body will cry out at one point. And what I suggest is just to sit 10-15 minutes without, even if you have no experience, just to try to sit 10-15 minutes without doing anything.
It's interesting. As a massage therapist, I often tell my clients who I have a sense that just run around all day long with like a chicken with other heads on. I tell them, have you ever just thought of sitting and doing absolutely nothing? Just try it for 5 minutes. Turn off music.
It's
close your
extremely
eyes.
difficult to do.
Don't have any distraction around you. Don't light a candle, nothing. Just sit for 5 minutes. And the reactions I've gotten in the past were just amazing. What for?
Yeah.
And no, I can't do that. I have no time.
Yeah.
So the ones that have listened to me and tried it, came back with, that was the hardest thing I've ever done.
Absolutely.
5 minutes has felt like an hour. So, then I say, okay, next time try 10 minutes and see what happens. And their jaw drops again, like, oh no, when's she going to end? When is this going to end? So, just sitting for a few minutes.
It's very